count to 3. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
You have found Daniel Donato's Lost Highway.
That lost highway.
Episode 44 of the Lost Highway podcast has commenced, y'all. The podcast of all things Cosmic Country. Howdy. How are y'all doing? I am Daniel Donato, still learning what it means to be that. We just recorded the new Cosmic Country album, and I'm very excited about this. And something that I learned in this process, which was something I was hoping this process would be, which was, what can I learn about myself, right, while I'm going and learning about creating music? And this was something I learned, and I think we can all kind of benefit from thinking about this. Before we get to that, I want to congratulate everybody on the millions of dollars that you have made on your very wise and forethought investment of moving into the space of GameStop, Nokia, and most importantly of them all, Dogecoin. What would the world do without Dogecoin? I really think he who controls the memes controls the universe, said Elon Musk. Fuck yeah, it's the truest thing I think I've ever read. So there's that idea. But here's another idea. Negotiating with reality. I think if you really want to be successful at something, and you want to work for yourself, and you want to be a boss and get things done and be successful in that drive, you got to negotiate with reality in certain ways. And the process of creating music, which is the process of creating a reality, like when a song is playing and it's a good enough song to where it captures your thought process for 2 minutes and 30 seconds to 3 minutes and 45 seconds on a streaming platform, the artist and the team behind that artist were creators of that reality that you just experienced, or they at least had a part in it. And it's like, that's kind of playing God in some way. And I think you got to negotiate with reality. I learned this when we were tracking. We would be 3 choruses into a song and be like, let's try this vocal riff here. Let's try this guitar tone here. Let's try this drum fill. And you realize that you have all these ideas to improvise when you're trying to get to your goal, right? The goal of the song or the goal of a journey you're on in life, right? These are metaphorically speaking. You got to negotiate with reality. Sometimes you go left, sometimes you go right. The fortune of music is that you can try it, going left and right, go back and listen and see what works. In life, we have to review day by day and talk to ourselves. But I always tried the idea, which is a Rick Rubin style method. And so this boils down to always try the thing you think you should try, right? So you don't have fear, you don't have regret of inaction, which is the form of regret most people have at the end of their life. Most people regret not having tried something as opposed to having tried something and failed. Negotiate with reality. We would try going left, say 75%, but the thing that actually worked was going left 25%. So that's something I'm going to do here is I'm going to, moving forward in 2021 and hopefully onward, if I can stay present in here, is negotiating with reality in wise ways that my intuition kind of points me to. And I don't want to brag about any of the work we're doing because that's fucking amateur. That's silly. But there's a concept of take care of the work and the work will take care of you. And that was a thought process I was having behind each beat that happened behind this new Cosmic Country record that's coming out. Is I was trying to take care of the work. We were doing 12-hour days. I was definitely doing lunch breaks because you're not going to be a wise human if you don't eat food and get nutrition in. But yeah, went very hard. Now is the time in my life to go super hard. And if you're 25, 26 years old, younger, a little bit older, go hard, go as hard as you can. But negotiate with reality. Be a boss and get it done. But be smart, right? Don't just say no. Reality is the only thing that's the realest thing that's in front of us at any given point in time. And it's the number one producer of change. So you might as well negotiate with it up until your last breath because you're going to have to do it whether you think you are or not. Play your cards wisely, my friend, and play them with patience, persistence, and positivity. Y'all stay cosmic, and y'all join the Cosmic Country Club so you can hear this record before anyone else in the world does. Thank you, guys. The internet wins. The internet is always going to win moving forward, and I think the way that the internet wins and affects country music is one of the best things and most entertaining things that I spend my time consuming right now. And I think a fantastic artist that is combining the invasive culture that is the internet with great country and truthful songwriting is Mr. Dougie Poole. I am a massive fan of this artist. He is just truthful. His lyricism is so unique. His aesthetic is very thoughtful. And it turns out that he's a very thoughtful, unique, and intelligent person. So it turns out that his music is a reflection of who he is. And I love when there's a transparency there between the artist and the art. I hadn't met Dougie before our virtual conversation. I very much so enjoyed each and every minute. He's a very wise man, very kind man. I urge y'all to go check out his music right now, and especially his YouTube videos. That plays into a key element of who he is and what he does. No further ado, Mr. Dougie Poole. Dougie Poole, I am a huge fan, sir.
Thanks so much, man. Likewise.
Where are you at? You're in New York City?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn right now, South Brooklyn, kind of like Flatbush, Lefferts Gardens area.
What is what's the landscape like in Brooklyn right now on a musical level?
On a musical level, there's not much at all.
Yeah, no shows, no nothing.
No, there's, the radio stations are still going. So like some of our local, like obviously the big ones are still going, and like WKCR, WFMU, our public radio stations are, I guess, doing some broadcasting from home and stuff. But yeah, show wise, not much. I guess I heard, what's that guy's name? Jazz guitar player, Bill Frisell.
Bill Frisell, so good. I love Bill Frisell.
Yeah, he's been doing some shows. Let's see, like in a lot of houses here, especially like townhouses and stuff. There's like out front, there's not like a yard, but just like an area where your trash cans are and like the steps are and stuff.
Yep.
And I think he's like done some shows out there. I tried to get tickets to one and it was sold out. But yeah, that's kind of all I really know of.
It's weird. The thing that's weird is that music won't stop. Like people keep playing shows, like people congregate for the live experience of sharing a moment that simply won't ever happen again. It's impossible to recreate a show. Dougie Poole plays at the Knitting Factory, in March of 2021, and I go and see it. And everyone else who's there, that moment in time never has the possibility of being replicated again. And I think on some like very deep level, we're very aware of that. And we won't let anything really stop the manifestation of that experience. And it's weird to see like us still like jumble to make things work against all these rules.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, obviously the rules are, really important. And I don't know if I've found, at least with like the live streaming stuff, I don't know if I've like found a format that like really, actually, you know what? I haven't like watched a ton of live streams in a way that like gives me the experience that I love of watching a live show. And for a long time, I was doing like solo live streams, and I'd like set up, I got like a green screen and stuff, and I'd like set up that and just kind of like play my guitar and sing. And
yeah,
I wasn't loving that either, really. But a couple of weeks ago, my roommate does like live video stuff. He can like manipulate VHS and stuff.
Ooh.
And so the other day we kind of jammed, and it was like, it felt really good. And I think it was like the collaboration part that I was missing, because like, I don't know, I can't like, me and my bandmates, we're all in separate bubbles, like my roommate doesn't really play music. My girlfriend doesn't play music. So like, I've been pretty like, craving just like the live collaboration feeling.
It's weird. I think, so Jerry Garcia calls it X chemistry, which obviously is like it's pretty like woo-woo approach of really just kind of saying like, man, the variable of human energy when creating music is truly necessary for certain kinds of genres. And what you do, man, is very much so a human-based transaction.
Oh,
man, so that has to be crucial for what you do. I admire the cats like Tommy Emmanuel or, Chet Atkins and, Joe Robinson, all these guitar players that can go out, Doyle Dykes, Steve Warner, that can go out and just play by themselves and recreate the energy of many players in one man or woman. That's tough, man. I need people in the room, both listening and both playing. Like, I need other people involved.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I've been like approaching that a little. I've been like trying to develop my finger style playing a bit.
Oh, nice. How so?
The past few years, you know, just like learning Travis style, like pretty well. How I came across your videos is I've been like trying to brush up on like some hybrid picking, because, you know, like I like playing with the finger picks, but then sometimes it feels a little clunky and like.
Oh, I hate the finger picks, dude. The thing about the finger picks I've always noticed is that it's like, it's just enough of a barrier from that human element for where it sounds very prosthetic-y.
Yeah, I actually like the way it sounds, but it just doesn't it feels really restrictive to me. Like I can't, like, it very much slows down my fingers to the point where like they're far behind my brain, you know?
Yeah, that's weird.
And so like, even with that, like feeling, you know, like I feel, and I play a lot of, you know, for a long time I was playing shows in New York. Every once in a while I would just like bring a guitar up and play by myself, finger picking, and like that felt like okay energy to me. But I think without an audience, I mean, obviously the audience like brings
energy. Oh, it's wild.
And without that, it really feels like just alone without an actual audience other than like the implied audience of a live stream. It very much feels just like playing alone in a room, which it is.
It really is that, you know, in some way. Like, it's, you know, so there's a great culture like on Twitch and people who are able to really like kind of mend what they do onto that platform and for it to work. But it's like, I feel like if you're a guitar player, if you're, you know, a piano player, if your sole thing is that you're a musician, that's where you're starting. You got to have those people in the room. It's inexplainable. You see with comedy, I got like this Zoom link to go to like a comedy show for like a fairly well-known comedian. And it was like 100 people or something like that got to watch this show. And it was weird. It was like, they'd make the punchline and like the chat would be like, ha, 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 LOL.
Right,
like, what the fuck is happening? It's like, this is so strange. I'm not into this.
It's really, it takes a lot of the air out of it. And, you know, I guess I'm into, you know, the resilient spirit that drives people to keep trying, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, for a while I had sort of given up on it.
Man, I had no idea that you were such a studious guitar player by your music. Is that you playing on a lot of your tracks?
Yeah, I like wrote a lot of the guitar playing, and then like my guitar player kind of like did his own thing with it.
Cool.
But yeah, I haven't done much finger style stuff. I learned that mostly to like accompany myself, you know, alone, to sort of make things more interesting than just like, you know, strumming the chords.
Oh, well, yeah, man. I mean, that's like legitimately, like, I'm going to pull up some of like what, like, man, like Toshiba Sky, Los Angeles, like vaping on the job, like your whole approach. And then, man, especially the tune like Los Angeles, like what you're doing aesthetically, like it's very Western and it's very country, it's very Americana, but there's also like this like lo-fi, almost like shoegazy, like Brooklyn vibe to it. And I just wanted to kind of get in your brain of like, what's going on like in your mind when it comes to like writing and collaborate, or like writing and recording. And because it looks like even just like on your Spotify, it looks like you're like literally in like one of those like many like 24/7 like side like Soho gas station, or not even gas station, like service station places where you can like go and buy Visine and like cucumber flavored Jewel pods for like,
we have those like on every corner here basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's one across, that's not the one across the street from my house, but there's one across the street from my house.
Like it's almost like it's like Midnight Cowboy almost meets 2020 and 2021.
Yeah. You know, I overthink it in the sense that like I'm really obsessive about how things sound and like kind of a perfectionist sometimes to a fault, I would say. But as far as like questions of larger like mixing genres and stuff, I don't really overthink that so much. It's funny, like I think of it just as country music. Like I listen to a lot of country music and like
What kind of country do you like the most?
You know, when I started this project, like so I grew up liking jam bands a lot, right?
Yeah, come
so,
on, like the Dead.
What's that?
Are you a fan of the Dead?
Yeah, big lifetime Grateful Dead fan.
Yeah.
I still come back to them several times a year and go for like a pretty deep dive.
Yep. What's your favorite era of the Dead?
You know, lately it's been like I've really liked the like 90s MIDI stuff lately. I think that's really cool.
So weird.
It's really weird. Like I feel like I'm a Dead fan. Like I'm there for the bad live stuff.
Of course.
Knowing me that it's like fully admit this is not good stuff.
Yeah,
right.
right.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so I will often just like put on Live at the Nick, which is like one of their, I think like a kind of early 90s set.
Dozing at the Nick. Yeah.
Dozing at the Nick. Right. That's it.
Sounds like someone's getting down to it in Brooklyn over there.
Oh yeah.
It's part every day.
All the time. Yeah, Dozing at the Nick has been a favorite lately. You know, just like the harmonies are all over the place. Like Brent, who I love, sounds horrible.
Yeah.
You know? It's just. Or wait, he might not even be. I guess he is on Dozing at the Nick. I don't know. That was probably like right around the time before or after he kicked. But
yeah. Yeah, that's a great era. It's a great era of the Dead. And so you were into jam bands, and you were also. When did country start becoming part of your purview?
Well, so they exposed me to like, you know, Merle Haggard, obviously. And,
Mama Tried, right? Sing Me Back Home.
And let's see, Marty Robbins.
El Paso, right? And it's just like a Big River, Johnny Cash.
Right.
Yeah.
So they kind of got me into those guys. And then, you know, like I kind of found bluegrass through the side projects there. And my parents liked folk music, you know, which is obviously like country adjacent in many ways. So it was kind of like I danced around it a lot for a long time. You know, I learned to play the banjo for a bit in high school and stuff.
Banjo's hard, man.
Really hard.
It's a really hard instrument. That's like, I don't get why like Deliverance holds up for people think it's just like low-minded individuals that can just play banjo very well. Like if you ever try, it takes patience and
It's a lot of time. Yeah.
A lot of time. You're teaching your body to do something completely natural, like not natural. Like it's unfucking real how hard it is. And that top string you never hit.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, it's open tuned, which I always struggle with.
Yeah, I don't like open tuned too much.
You know, it's just like I feel like really tied down by open tuning, you know, just like tied into a major whatever. So I got into that, and then in college I studied. I can actually tell you there were like a couple moments where it like clicked with me that country music was what I wanted to make.
Oh, dude, what are they?
I was at I was at some show. It was at Baby's All Right, which is a gig here. It must have been like 2013 or 2014. And whoever was DJing that night put on Billy Swan's cover of Don't Be Cruel, you know? And that's like a really far out. I mean, that's country, but it's like, it's pretty far out stuff.
You know, Charlie Crockett just put out a version of I Can Help, which is
that's
Billy
great.
Swan
great
song. Yeah, absolutely.
And that clicked with me in a big way. I kind of was like, I've always like really like slowed down stuff. you know, like I like DJ Screw a lot. I will just like that effect of like slowing stuff down. You know, like in the early 2010s, I spent a lot of time on YouTube on those just like Rush's Working Man slowed down like 800%. Like like the Eagles in the City is slowed down 800%. And I just like listen to those and I like them a lot.
It's like the vaporwave approach.
Yeah, like Drone or something. I don't know. It clicked for me. And I feel like Swan's Elvis cover like gets that. And so I think that was like sort of a new way in for me. And then I also heard I was watching Eastbound and Down, that HBO show. Again, probably around the same time, and like George Jones's Grand Tour.
Oh.
In an episode, and I'm just like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, man.
This is
really like you're talking about a Pavarotti level vocalist.
Yeah. He's the best. Probably my number one fave now. So that's kind of, and I like studied math for I went to college and I studied math there for a lot of it. And then kind of towards the end, I realized that I didn't like math and wasn't really that great at it. And so I picked up creative writing as a major. So I've been writing in some form or another, or I had been before I started writing country songs, you know, for a few years. And I knew that was a skill that I had that I was like pretty good at. And I knew I liked making music.
In terms of creative writing, like in a bullet point fashion, what are some, because everyone I'm sure has dabbled in creative writing, like writing about your life, writing even journaling, you know, and doing, or something that is somewhat fictional in school. But in terms of someone who's gone to college and studied creative writing, in a bullet point sense, like what are some takeaways and like things that people can do that you still presently do, strategy wise?
You know, it was pretty free form strategy wise. You know, not like, I think it's a lot like those classes they remind, or they sound to me like how my friends who are in art school describe their like critiques, where it's like you just kind of bring something in. And so I would say what it taught me was to like I would write to a room, you know, like I would write to try to write things that would I would get to know my classmates and then try to write little stories that I felt like would resonate in the room in the context of what we were reading and like what other people were writing. So I think like as far as just kind of like reading a vibe from people and like,
oh wow,
like mirroring, not in like I don't think in an artificial way, just like writing something that feels like it will be powerful for people and that they will respond to, you know? And I think like being in a big room of people talking about your work is something that like we as musicians don't get. I don't know, maybe like people who study music like formally in conservatories get this kind of critique, but like I haven't in my, you know, music career of like playing basements and bars and whatever going on floors. Really? You don't really get that kind of thing that much, other than the, you know, obvious, you know, at a certain point you get good at reading the response of people in a room in the moment that you're doing something live. But so I think in a larger sense that I think was important for me. I had one really great teacher who I don't know, her whole thing was like, I guess it boiled down to like every time you did something, instead of saying it was good or bad, she just like was just like why?
Right. Come on. Right.
Right. And just like kind of made you ride that string out as far as it would go. And I like still have some of the stuff that I made for that class, and it was very much the opposite of what I was just describing, which is like, it's not really like when you're doing stuff like that, it gets really heady and conceptual. And there's value in that, but it's like sort of the other side of, you know, you're not really you're like writing stuff as a personal or making stuff as a personal exercise to see what you come up with by yourself, but not necessarily intending it to be reflected or as a reflection of other people, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think when it comes to editing, right? So I think editing is the thing that is like the biggest. That was a big wow moment for me when I started getting in rooms and writing sessions in Nashville with people that were more experienced than I am and a few years older, was the process of editing and the contrast of a mindset when it comes to the actual improvisation, creation, birthing process of an idea and writing it down for a first draft.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if it's like, because your shit is so so competitively modern in the sense of like song titles, like Don't You Think I'm Funny Anymore, Less Young But Is Dumb, where it's like as we go to like a more formal time, like 70s and 80s, and you have songs like She Thinks I Still Care, and songs that are touching on way less individualized concepts. I feel like where we're at now, like we have so many songs, like even like you feel like Ariana Grande songs, like 34, 35, like so individualized. That's like we're in the era of the hyper atomic individual. And like your song title is like Vaping on the Job. Like you couldn't write that song in the fucking 90s, but you can write that song now. And it's like, so what's your thought process on writing in the moment and then editing?
You know, I don't do a lot of, you know, obviously writing has to occur in some moment, but my process is very much not like, I pretty rarely will like sit down, write a song in one session, like a first draft, and then like come back and edit it and then second draft. It's like a pretty drawn out process of like fitting pieces into a larger puzzle, I would say. You know, like I have a sense of, you know, like Vaping on the Job is probably one of those title first songs, you know, like I knew that was something that people did, like people I know do that.
Right. Yeah.
And I've done that. That's the thing that, you know,
right.
There's a lot going on there. And so I knew that was something that I wanted to think about, but as far as that came together, all of them kind of come together like in bits and pieces over a long period of time. Every once in a while I get lucky and like wake up with a song in my head, but that's pretty rare.
That's a rare thing when the muse is very much a visible.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you might be a title first, like Toshiba Sky sounds title first.
That was a title second one, I think, or like. I don't know. You know, it's kind of hard to pick it apart like that. Sometimes I do. I think I'm aware of. You know, I think the titles. Yeah, a lot of people ask me about my titles, and I think it's like I try to write an interesting hook, and usually that leaves you with like a good title. So I would say like I'm a hook first guy. You know?
Oh yeah,
like,
that's country. That's like the thing.
Yeah, I like hooks a lot. Like I don't know, the way that I'm not really a big like record listener, or like I do, but that's like, you know, I'll put on a record and it's like Mort Garson or like, you know, like the Vangelis soundtrack to Blade Runner. You know, like I like records, but
right.
Usually when I drop a needle on something, it's like, it's not necessarily close listening time for me. Whereas like, I'll take a country song that I like and I'll like listen to it in my headphones for like 4 days or something.
Man, me too. I get in like I get in this like atmosphere of a single song.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I like try to write with that in mind. Like, I love that experience of just like being like, what is it about this that has me coming back constantly? And usually the hook, or just like great writing. You know, it's usually something that is functioning as the hook, whether it's what we can like typically think of as a hook or not.
Right. I feel like as we start getting into the world that we're in now, where it's like so much of like the asset of a song needs to be communicated in a faster format than it used to. Like 15, 30 seconds is kind of like your capsule of what you get to like advertise a song if you're an up and coming artist, you know? And it's like, I think technology plays a huge part in that. Sometimes a melodic asset that's not even a lyrical thing that a song offers is the hook. You know, like the thing that I remember that being the first occurrence in my life was like Paper Planes MIA.
Totally.
It's like that intro is the hook of the song.
Right.
Like you put that on and I am there. Like I'm on the school bus, driving to school, like on my way to school, listening to that in the hallway. And it's like I am a young child again, wearing like Etnies shoes, like trying to learn how to ollie like very badly. Like that was that thing. And it's like, man, your music in that sense has like these really great like melodic tinges that I feel like a lot of other country and Americana music isn't offering.
Thanks. I appreciate that a lot. You know, like I really like pop music. And again, my listening approach is like very like compulsive sometimes, where it's just like, give me that hook again and again and again and again and again until I'm like done.
Whoa, yeah.
And then, you know, and then I come back to it. But I like that a lot.
Do you produce your own records?
I've only done 2. The first one I did home, totally by myself.
Specifically Freelancers Blues, like that. And, you know, of course, all the singles you put out in 2020, which are accompanied on that.
So the last single, Toshiba Sky, that I did at home. It was like that's produced myself, written, recorded.
Great, man.
Parts. And then mixed by Mexican Summer. They've got an in-studio guy who does all their mixing, mastering stuff. And then the record I co-produced with the guy who mixed Johnny Schenke, who like records a lot of bands here. I co-produced that with him. Had a lot of like my band played on a lot of it. I played a lot of different. The way I recorded, I actually like tracked fully all the demos and then like brought it in and like we dropped parts out.
Oh wow! So the stems were there.
The stems were there. I think we recorded, or for some of them we like pulled stuff out. For some of them we like rehearsed. I rehearsed the rhythm section of my band, and then we did that and kind of layered some of the old stems on top of it, or like I re-recorded the new stems. It was very like puzzle pieces coming together.
So that's a real
great,
thing.
Great steel guitar playing. This guy Dan Aid. He's again out of Brooklyn. Plays with like Nora Jones and Cass McCombs and stuff.
Dude, I fucking love Nora Jones. I can't.
She's great. She's her steel player and her guitar player. He's terrific. Really,
I gotta connect with him, man. And so is he on has he been with her for a while? He's on the earlier recordings.
I don't know. I know I think he's in her live group now. I don't know much about their history together. It's just like when he came in, he just came in and banged it out in 2 sessions. Like he listened to the tracks, but like we didn't rehearse anything, and he like sat in for a day and just knocked everything out.
So like that's the thing. Like I realized so I started playing music when I was 14. I'm about to be 26 in April. So I started doing my own artist thing when I was around 23 years old. So all that time in between, I was going into sessions in the dozens of studios that are in town, and I was playing on people's records.
Oh, cool.
But the thing was like, you come in, you wake up at 8 a.m., you go in for a 10 a.m. session, And this artist has been sitting on this song for a fucking year. They've been playing it out in Topeka, Kansas. They've been making sure that that second verse lyric is perfect, and the way that they deliver that last chorus hook is right on the money. But then you come in as the player and you don't have that emotional attachment to the song. And that can sometimes be an advantage to the song because you don't have all that ego tied to it. But then when I started doing my own records, I was very much so like, I don't want anyone who hasn't like played this material with me live to come in and touch on it. And that's funny to me that I was thinking, like, listening to your records, like, this must be this guy's band. Like, these must just be his bros that are.
Most of it is.
Yeah. But then you had some outside forces that didn't have that intimacy with the material. Did you find that that was actually like a good thing for the music?
You know, I think if you're a good enough player, yeah. You know, I think if you come in and knock it out and like, yeah, then it works. I think Nashville's got, it's like a little bit of a different environment where there are a lot of players like that. This is like the only like pro steel player I know that does sessions. So it was like I didn't really have a whole lot of choice, but it worked out great.
Are you from New York?
I am. I grew up here. Yeah.
My whole family's from Jersey and New York.
Oh, whoa, cool.
Yeah. Then we moved to Nashville when I was like 8 years old before I even started guitar. That whole Northeast culture it's really, it's cool to see it. I don't know too many country artists that are able to integrate the experience of that culture into their music very well, but you do. Like, it feels like where you come from, man. Do you feel like living in the city has a big influence on you? I recently read again How Music Works by David Byrne, and he talks about how New York bleeds into his records. And you can hear it in Paul Simon, you can hear it in David, you can hear it in Trey Anastasio's music, and I can hear it in yours. I was wondering if that's like an intentional bleeding that happens.
You know, I don't think so. I think, you know, I've lived here for a long time. It's not like I wouldn't say I go out of my way. You know, I think I just try to write honest, and like, that's part of that is, you know, like I don't see horses that often, and you know, like I don't like have a lot of, except
Clydesdale and Times Square.
Right.
Yeah.
You see cops on horses sometimes on the beach, but otherwise, you know, it's not that I was only saying that to illustrate a point. Like I don't have like cowboy stuff to write about, you know. I just write, you know, what I know about, I guess, and like my experiences and my friends' experiences and stuff. So
it's cool to see, like, I think country music, I'm glad, the thing that like a big motif I've seen recently, like coming in on the conversations I have on this podcast, is like everyone being like, yeah, I really do love country music. I just don't love like pop country. Like I don't love that whole
I love that
archetype. And it's like, it's funny to see how social media and the internet's like allowing the truth of what country music is to spread to the cultures that it should. And it's like, I read recently, man, like New York really has been like, always has loved country music. Like Garth Brooks' first show there was in Central Park, and there were over 1 million people that came.
Right. Yeah, I saw that documentary about him. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? I had no idea that the people of New York love country music that much. It was like, that's crazy.
It's big. You know, it's funny. I was like listening to Alan Jackson. I, for one, am a big like pop country fan. Like, you know, the new stuff, hit or miss, but like
the old 90s.
What gets carried over,
like anything.
It's still, you know, it's great songwriting. Like there's a lot of really good songwriting. And
after genres, like any genre over any period of time will have good songwriting archetypes that carry over for the decades to come, whether it's pop, funk, country, blues. Doesn't matter.
And so like, I don't know, I'm there for pop country, you know, like I get what some people don't like about it. And yeah, but like that's not really enough to make me, I don't know. Like I still kind of dig it, you know?
Yeah.
I was listening to, Alan Jackson in my car. Let's see, like pretty loud late one night. I was just like waiting, or it's my mom's car. waiting.
What is your mom's car? I'm predicting like, is it a Mazda?
Honda.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Japanese. Nice. Yeah. You need good gas mileage in the city.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Let's see. So I live in a neighborhood that's like a lot of West Indian folks. And a guy came up to my car, and while I was listening to Alan Jackson, was just like, "Yo, I'm from Jamaica. I love Alan Jackson. Like, we love Alan Jackson in Jamaica."
Yes, they do.
I'm like, I had no idea. Awesome.
I just brought my friend Jock Houstic onto the podcast, and he's written the best-selling Bob Marley bibliography in that's on the market. It's like he has over like 700 Bob Marley books. He knows everything about Bob, and we spent about an hour and a half talking about how country music and Jamaica and reggae music are locked together, and they are so fucking similar. And it's wild because I'm all about getting rid of genres and getting rid of race predictions that cloud your interpretation of the true experience that is music. And you might not think that Bob Marley loved George Jones and Hank Sr. and Hank Snow, but he did. The second single he ever cut when he was 16 years old was a cover of a country song.
Yeah. No, I mean, I hear it in a huge way. Yeah, I mean, bluegrass is gospel music. There's that all over, like early reggae music too. It's there's a lot of similarity for sure.
The truth really knows no bounds, and it really knows no genre, it knows no race. And there might be a weird shitty period of 40, 50 years where we think that, somebody tells us that these kinds of people don't listen to this kind of music, and I can't enjoy pop music. I can't really enjoy reggae music because I'm not from there. But ultimately the truth wins, and it comes out on top. And it turns out that that's really the thing that connects us all together.
Yeah. And I think just like basic stuff that like harmony, like nice harmony, people, it's just like, how can you go wrong with like three voices singing a nice harmony? You can't.
We played this gig last night, and it was our first show of the year. That was like a ticketed event. We've been playing down at some of the honky tonks, like specifically Robert's Western World, which is like the home of traditional country music. And they don't do ticketed shows there. We'll just play for 4 hours and people come and go. And we did a ticketed show last night, and it was our third song of the night. We end the song a cappella. And the energy when you do an a cappella executed melody with practice, it brings a room together like nothing else does.
Right. Yeah.
And that you're tapping on like thousands of years old.
Yeah.
Like tradition on a human level.
Yeah. No, it's like, I guess the other thing that I think really, the bluegrass and country music is I really like vocal harmonies, and obviously there's vocal harmonies all over the place in all kinds of music, but it's like, it's very front and center and like country music and bluegrass music and gospel music. And
yeah.
Right.
Have you always sang?
Not really.
That's crazy.
Funny.
That's fucking crazy because you have such a voice that sounds like you've always done that.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess I've always sang a little, like I think I learned how to harmonize singing. I used to get stoned in my bathroom in high school and like take a bath and like sing along with like bluegrass and actually a lot of reggae too. I was into reggae in high school and sing along with the Grateful Dead and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned how to sing. I think just how harmonies stacked and like how there were different parts to it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really like there's a like understanding the notes and stuff and how that works. It's a whole different thing than like finding your voice that you can sing with and feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that took me a lot longer. I sang in a band. We played like kind of punk rock, my early 20s. And it wasn't singing in that way. I was always just kind of like yelling over the.
So you were studying math and it being in a punk rock band.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Very
like
Tool.
kind of like a
Amazing.
noisy rock band. It wasn't a math rock band at all because the guys that I was in the band with didn't go for that. Neither have I. I've never been like a big math rock guy. But yeah, I played like it's kind of like loud rock and roll or whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. We all have those manifestations of like that archetypal like rock band that you just play some shows with. Yeah.
And then it wasn't really until I started playing, like really figuring out my own stuff that I like really learned how to sing. I like made some demo recordings, and then my friend was like, we should put this out on a vinyl, but like before you go and start like laying down the actual vocal tracks, like part of the advance is going to be like, I'm going to like pay for like 3 singing lessons for you. So I like took 3 singing lessons, which I think was enough to just like give me some like warm up exercises and stuff, just like a sense of like where I should be singing from. And I don't like think about those things that much anymore, but I think it was like, it served a big purpose in just kind of like settling into my voice, I would say. And like, so I wasn't like doing an impression of country music, which is maybe a little bit of what I was doing before, like I love Hank Williams and stuff. And like those guys sing like,
right from the nasal, right from from the third eye, really.
And so, yeah. And I just didn't really know how to, it took me a while to like, and I do a little of that. And it just took me a while to figure out how to do it authentically, like as though it were me.
So doing something authentically is, I've learned within the last year, I think that's like the vibe. Like you can always learn things very well, that note for note, tone for tone that other people do. But the thing that really transcends and creates the bridge from one human to another is the one that is built out of authenticity. What's your philosophy on delivering something authentically? Is it just like an internal barometer that you're following?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't, it's funny. I tossed out that word, but I don't think about it. I think like, when I'm writing and when I'm making stuff, I think about like my friends and if they would like it, like I have some people I think about, like the people who know me really well, like would they think this is weird, or like would they think this is me?
Yeah, that's great.
And so that actually, I was thinking about this a lot the other day, actually. So authentic in that sense, like, just like trying to be, yeah, I think like, especially on my first record, while I was like learning how to write a country song, a lot of that was, I guess what in creative writing you call pastiche, which is like, I don't know, I took like Sin City by the Flying Burrito Brothers and I like set my own words to it. And
I love pastiche. That's the era of art that we're in.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of can't get around it to a certain extent. Although, like, I'm less deliberate about it now. I think, like, it comes in and it's less, like... But, yeah, like, the first, like, real country song I wrote, or country songs I wrote were, like... Yeah, I, like, took that groove from that Billy Swan song and I, like, made a song out of it. And I, like, took like, the progression of Sin City and I made a song out of it. And, like, through doing that a few times, I think, like, now I can... Like you learn the patterns of country music and you learn the, like, it's like a deep and wide art form, and like, yes. I do think a lot of people like write it off as simple in a way that doesn't, like a lot of musicians, I think particularly.
Oh, they're so wrong too. Like they clearly have never played it then. It's like,
yeah, like when I did like a first take recording this album and I went out to Toronto to play with these like really great, they're great guys, great jazz musicians, like prodigious, virtuosic jazz musicians. And like, I was like, okay, they like had me come out and we're like, okay, we're going to like track 2 songs. And And we didn't. My hope was that like I was gonna go up there, and my initial hope was like I'd go up there and we'd get into it for like a month, and like stew in it, and like I'd play them all my favorite country and they'd play me all their favorite country, and like we'd get like there would be some sense of like shared
right,
like catalog and like they pick up music so fast that there a sense that there would be like shared fluency in like the sounds and changes and pickups, just like all the things that make country, just the things that when you play country music for a while.
Yeah, man, the swing, the rhythm, the dynamic, the melody, yeah, like
how the bass and the drums like sit in a pocket together, like when the guitar comes in and out, how the guitar is supposed to play off the vocals, and just things like that like you don't know unless you listen to it a lot.
Right. Like you would think like you listen to a lot of songs, like particularly you're talking about playing off the vocals, like, what do you do when you have a fiddle player and a steel player in the same country song? Well, in one verse, the fiddle player takes fills, and in the second verse, the steel player takes fills.
Right.
Share. And that's an unspoken thing that happens.
Right. And, there's a lot of that obviously in jazz too.
Sure.
I think it's just different.
Just less fun to listen to.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even say that because it's just like, it's not what I'm going for in my work. And so like, I think I came in and they were like, I think they're used to as jazz players, and they play on a lot of pop records and stuff too. Like people come in and they do that thing that like Nashville session musicians do, which is like, like I've had these songs that I've been working on for a year, and they come in and they're great musicians and they like picked it up really fast, but it doesn't play. It like didn't play back like a country band, it played back like these great jazz musicians like doing country, which is a different thing and wasn't specifically what I wanted.
Yeah. Right.
And, I think we could have gotten there with time. I trust that these guys could have picked up anything. I think it just, it takes time and like marinating and stuff. And
it's hard to also like bring yourself down to a level of simplicity musically when you're so efficient in your processing.
Right.
Like it's really hard to like ask like a new MacBook Pro to play Pac-Man.
Right. Totally. Yeah.
And it's like, that's tough, but it's like those, I feel like are the musicians that like stand the test of time, are the ones that are able to communicate to most people. And like most people are not on a level of understanding music like jazz musicians are.
Right.
Like that's very mathematical and intense, and all kinds of rules and things you do and don't do and ways to do things. And
yeah, although I would say my favorite jazz music is like
have you listened to Sonny Rollins' Way Out West?
I haven't. Is that
so good? So it's Sonny Rollins, obviously one of the best saxophone players. And he's doing all cowboy songs. And it's like,
that's great.
So good. Yeah. And it's just great, man. And again, it revisits the melodic, timeless gold that country music and Western music offers.
And he does it well.
Yeah. So they'll take like, Tumble and Tumbleweeds or something like that. Like Sons of the Pioneers, the first song, like a Big Lebowski. And they'll hit the melody really well. And then they just go to the moon and back by improvising around it. You're like, well, that's very cool. Like, especially if you're a player and you can appreciate improvisation, but the melodic way that country music just goes is tied to the soul. Like it's just perfect.
Yeah. I hear that.
That's some good listening though. Yeah. I think you'd fuck with that pretty heavy.
One of my favorite country records is a Bobby Womack record. I mean, he's also like one of my favorite guitar players too.
Oh, BW goes CW?
Yeah, one of my favorite. And it's weird because like a lot of, I don't know, I saw a review on it on AllMusic or something that like really panned it. And I think it's like one of the best. I think it's like one of my favorite country records. Like it's just like those like studio soul players nail it.
I'm looking at it. It's like, I don't know any of those songs. Are those all original songs? Or are they
let's see. No, he does like a like a vocalized version of a Floyd Kramer, like a no piano song. He does like
that's cool.
Who's that? Charlie Rich. One of those Charlie Rich songs, like Behind Closed Doors.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
A few other ones. Yeah, like really old country stuff, like 50s, 40s, 50s. I think is most of it.
Man.
It's great. Great record.
Man, so we put out a record back in August, and we had this. It was the first record I ever did with a publicist. He's like, there's definitely going to be some reviews that you won't like.
Yeah.
Like, send me everything. Like, I want to read every single thing. In reading the reviews of, and I'm only bringing this up because you mentioned that AllMusic panned this Bobby Womack record. And it was interesting to like hear other people's opinions on things that I wouldn't let myself say about myself. Like, and so have you received any blowback from publications and press assets that have come out from your record?
Nothing really harsh, like I think there was one review I read, I don't even know where it was, that, like somebody with like a pretty, I would say like an ear, or whose ear was tuned more to like a traditional country sound or like a roots rock sound, who like really didn't like my use of synthesizers.
Oh, I love that.
And I was okay with that,
Yeah.
And let's see, I don't know. I got some, the one review that I got that I think like stuck with me, and it's taken me a little while and again, I didn't think it was a burn. But I got one review that it was like, the songs are low stakes, and I think that
sucks.
Well, I just think that it's like, what does
that even mean?
Yeah, I think I'm just like, I kind of know what it means, which is just that like the songs are about everyday stuff, but like, does that, I don't know. I guess I'm still processing that one, I think. I agree almost, like I'm not writing about like,
he stopped loving her today. That is not what you're touching on.
No, I'm not. Although, I think it's closer to that than it is to like protest music or something like that, where the stakes are like actually quite high,
right.
Like things that actually I believe are really high stakes. But, I think like, like romance and like small, like, I don't know. I don't think that small things need to be low stakes, I guess. It's like, those are like, I don't know. Maybe it was just like the way they worded it or something, or, I guess my record came out in the context of some like very high stakes things that were going on this summer, obviously, like, the pandemic and like the nationwide protests for, racial equality and stuff. And so like, yes, in that sense, totally low stakes. But I don't, like,
that was the thing that
you ask of a song, like.
Yeah, it's like, and you also don't have to. That was the thing too that we received some blowback for too, which was, why aren't you using your platform to discuss these really big monolithic societal concepts that are very inflamed in the present moment? And the answer, which is valid, is I don't really know like about those things. And so why would I try to talk about things I don't really know about? I can't really bring value to aside from an individual's opinion. It's like,
right. I get on one sense that I get that criticism in the sense that like, I get being a listener and needing something different in that moment.
Right.
I get being a listener and needing something different than in that moment. And like the society needing something different in that moment.
Yeah, totally.
But as a reflection on the songs itself, I was thinking about it a lot. And my manager, I was processing it for a while, and my manager was like, I forget what song he pointed it to, but he was like, and this was before the police brutality protest. This was This was
just like what was that? That was like May, right? So this must have
been May. And I was just kind of like talking because we started the press cycle for my record in like March, I would say, which is like when the pandemic started getting real serious.
Terrible timing. My God, sir.
Yeah, and
sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Yeah, it is.
And I was like stressed about it, and I was like thinking about maybe calling it off or something. And it's it's just like it's not what people are going to need right now necessarily. But like that doesn't mean that you should. I think he was talking about like Love Train or something. There was like some seminal pop song that was like released on the same day as the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Wow.
Which is like not a song that we associate with that moment at all.
It's the last thing when I listen to Love Train, I don't think anything about.
It might not be Love Train. It might be something. It's something.
Robert McNamara. I don't think anything about that.
It's some other thing. I missed the song.
Right.
But it's like some like seminal like pop soul song. And it's like, yeah, probably people were freaking out on that day and like didn't really want to listen to that song. But that doesn't mean that it shouldn't have come out at that time. And I think that that's okay. Like
man.
If like what people need is not to listen to a white guy with a guitar talking about small things at that time. But I'm cool with that. And I'm cool with like a blowback to that, like I think
Yeah, man. So what are you working on right now? It sounds like you're working on just like bettering your craft on guitar.
Yeah, doing some of that. I work full time. I write code for an underwear website. What's that? Yeah, how'd you know?
Oh, I just picked my favorite underwear brand.
Yeah, I do. I work for a company that contracts with them. I actually don't know. Maybe we can cut this because I don't know if they know that I'm a professional musician. Is that okay? If we
that's totally cool. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to like have anything with like them associating their brand with my thing or my thing.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. I don't know how that works. But yeah, I work. I code for an underwear website, and I'm glad you like their underwear. I haven't tried it myself.
Dude, it is the best underwear in the world. We did the Howard Stern show.
I'm so happy to hear that.
It's unbelievable. Makes you wonder because I don't like wearing underwear a lot of the time, especially when I'm playing. And it is the best. Like you got to try some. It's so good.
I really got to. You're the first person outside of somebody within the company who's told me that I really got to try some, and I'm really gonna try.
Right on.
Yeah. And so I'm kind of, I'm just working right now. I've been writing some stuff. I'm thinking about taking a little bit of time off soon from my work to get back to like writing. I think my craft is to kind of get back to something that we were talking about earlier is like, I think of like talking to other people and seeing other people is a big part of like my writing stuff, like, and writing stories, like I don't,
oh, wow.
I'm not like super able to like conjure stories out of thin air. I'm not frankly a huge reader. And so like, yeah, like talking to my friends and like seeing people and just like getting a feel of what's going on around me is like a big part of knowing what to write about. And obviously that's something that can be done like using the internet or something, but I'm like thirsty for it in a way for my writing that
right. Yeah, you need that like, pungent life. You need that life experience. Yeah. It needs to be fresh. It's like it doesn't exist in like a can. Like you can't just put it away and expect to open it 2 years later. Like it's very much so like it's like sushi almost, like these life experiences. Yeah. Man, like if something happens to me, like I need like 3 days at the most to like write a song about it. Otherwise it starts to go into the recesses of my mind and it becomes something that's not really valid. It's just something I think happened. And, it's, so you're going to take some time off and just like start experiencing life through the purview of a writer.
Yeah. Or just, like I have trouble with the writing code for computers is cool. It's like a mindset though. And it's like, I don't know if I can do like, I can do like writing exercises in the morning and stuff before I work, and I can like practice guitar while I'm coding and stuff, and like I can like learn a song. I've been learning how to read music, which I never knew how to do.
Yeah, I can see that behind
really
you.
like get into the creative process of like in the mindset that I think for me I need to get into to really start to string together parts, musical bits and parts and lines and stuff for a larger work on the scale of an album. I think I need to be like doing it. Again, yeah, like I've been like putting scraps in the scrapbook, but I think in order to like really synthesize it, I'm gonna have to like step away for a moment.
Whoa, my father worked for Oracle for about a decade, and then he works for a smaller company and consults with businesses, but IT is always what he's done. And his whole concept that I try to take elements of his work and apply it to music all the time, and like how he organizes data and processes very much so seems musical. So one thing that could be cool to end on is, does your work in developing code, can you take any of those elements and apply it to developing music? Either, of course, right and left brain contrast is very apparent here, but
it doesn't. I think technically, yes. Like I think like I can very much get into the mindset of like learning to read music while I'm writing code, but I think like the human part of writing a song and like being comfortable with like incongruities and like binary, like code is binary, right? But the world isn't.
It's right or wrong. Right.
And so I think that can be kind of, when I'm writing code, that's like hampering to my social interactions. It's not just working on, but I would say that the thing about working on music, the link between them is like puzzle solving a little bit. I like crossword puzzles and shit. And like making a country song fit together with the rhymes and the words and the meter and stuff like that. It feels like fitting. It feels like doing a little like puzzle.
That's pretty dope.
Like there are rules to writing a country song. And you don't have to follow all of them, obviously, or any of them. But like, in order for something to be a country song or a pop song even, there are like certain rules. And again, you don't have to follow all of them, but like probably if like you want somebody to recognize it as a song, you got to follow some of them. And and so, like I think writing a piece of music according to those rules is maybe similar to like solving a logical problem, to the rules of logic, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man, that's real.
So I would say that's the link, if there is one, which I guess there is.
Well, it's cool. I think it's, a lot of musicians aren't able to also work at a full-time job and delineate their mindset to where they can still create quality music. And you do a fantastic job at it, man.
Thank you so much. I don't, again, like, I think I like pick up gigs for a long time and then drop them. And, that's it. It's hard. It's hard to do them both at the same time.
Yeah, it sounds like it is hard. My grandfather wrote a book right before his passing, and one of the main concepts in it was the muses of life do not like to be shared. Yeah, it's almost like a relationship based on monogamy. Like you really, in terms of mental state and large windows of time, 6 months, whatever, they don't like being shared, the muses. And it's like, it sounds like you're experiencing the same concept.
Yeah, I had like gigs where I was like working 3 or 4 days a week, and it's like it's hard. Even with that like extra time, it's hard to like get into it, because like Monday you gotta wake up and
work,
put all that away and work,
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Man, I can't wait to hear what you come up with. If there's anything I could ever do to help you with guitar or anything like that,
I'll definitely keep you in mind. I love your
just hit me up, if you have any ideas or anything.
Please. Yes, of course.
It was great getting to chat and hang, man. I can't wait. We'll have to do it in Brooklyn sometime when I come on
Likewise.
tour. And
Yeah.
you come
I'm hoping
here.
to come to Nashville at some point too, you know? So
Okay.
when the world is, safe again. Yeah.
Yeah, right. We'll find that light. It's there.
Cool, man.
Right
Great
on,
talking.
Dougie. Nice
Yeah.
meeting you, my friend. All
Nice
right.
meeting you too. Yeah.
All right, dude. Take it easy.
Take it easy. Bye.
All go check out Mr. Dougie Poole's music on all the platforms. I especially love the work that he puts out on YouTube, the aesthetic, these old like nudie suits, HR Ranch suits, really just beautiful aesthetic, great production behind the music, great songwriting. I'm a